welcome to the show. I am your host, Suzanne Monk, host of the one and only all-live Periscope cast about Donald Trump, Trump news. We call it Trump Talk right here on Periscope. And if you tuned in last night, we had kind of a crazy episode. Just a quick, brief comment about that. I have actually these people who are very upset that I support Donald Trump, and I knew them in my past, and Facebook managed to connect me conveniently with these people that I did not really want to have any contact with from the past, who then started to stalk me because I support Donald Trump. And so I had to talk to my people. You know, you have to sometimes talk to various people who know various other people that can help you when you have to deal with situations like that. And this election year has been absolutely crazy. As you know, the vitriol for the left, from the left, is absolutely out of control. I appreciate that you even talk about a policy, although it's not really descriptive to just say that somebody's policy stinks. But usually we don't talk about policy. Usually we are talking immediately about race, about bigotry, about hatred. All of which these things that we talk about, these examples of bigotry and hatred and incitement recently, are false and media created. And today is yet another perfect example. When Mr. Trump was talking about the Second Amendment, he made a comment that perhaps the Second Amendment people might have something they could do to stop Hillary Clinton from appointing too many justices, etc., etc. And that is in fact true. There are multiple things, not just not electing Hillary Clinton, which would be the best decision we could all possibly make, but also, even in that situation, who you're electing in the other offices, who they elect in the midterms, there's always things anybody can do, any group can do politically to ensure that their rights are taken care of. And frankly, lawsuits, etc., etc., etc. It goes on and on and on. You know, and to be fair, the Second Amendment was designed in case the government does become entirely tyrannous. So I don't know what you guys saw recently, but wasn't the government just in a standoff with citizens, you know, in Oregon? I mean, that's what the Second Amendment is for. He didn't say anything wrong. He actually spoke accurately about the Second Amendment. The problem with this country is that so many people don't understand the Second Amendment that they don't know when it spoke accurately. Yeah. You guys say the craziest things. You say the craziest things. And you know what? It's going to be really sad when Mr. Trump is president. And you guys are going to have to make a decision because you have learned to hate rather than engage in political discussion and debate. It's fascinating. So let's talk about Trump's economic speech that he had on Monday. Absolutely great speech, greatly reviewed. Anybody who says it wasn't greatly reviewed is obviously watching some, probably CNN, you know, some skewed mainstream media who's busy talking about babies that didn't get kicked out, and busy talking about Purple Heart guys who weren't in any way put down by the statements, or talking about comments that allegedly are inciting gun nuts to rise up and take over the government or shoot Hillary Clinton. Now, what's interesting is people keep ending up dead on Hillary Clinton's side that are trying to pass on information, whistleblowers. There's all sorts of people who end up dead over there that nobody pays any attention to. But Donald Trump accurately describes the Second Amendment. Oh my God, he wants to shoot babies in the street. The left is crazy. You've gone crazy. And that's why we're going to elect Trump, because you need rescue from yourselves. So let's move on to the speech. Several points. Tax reform, brilliant. What is in the tax reform needs to be done. The tax reform needs to be... That's never going to happen. You know, I just want to stop for those who can't read what the person says below. She says it's best to jump off the Trump train right now, which is so sweet. which is so sweet, but you don't understand. You have no idea what you're talking about. See, the reason I'm on the Trump train is because there is not another choice. The other choice is Hillary Rodham Clinton, who is a crook, who is a criminal, who sells government favors through her own foundation, through donations to her own foundation. She has lost billions of dollars. She just lost $6 billion. Nobody in the State Department. Where'd it go? Don't know. They allegedly helped Haiti by helping the north half of Haiti. Didn't even do anything for the south half of Haiti. Still destroyed. She's a crook. So, frankly, Donald Trump could be a lot of things, okay? And he would be better than Hillary Rodham Clinton. What you're lucky is that Donald Trump actually has the skills that are necessary to turn this country around, to fix the economy by reducing taxes, no business tax above 15%. That's going to draw back business that we are losing to places like Scotland, to China, to Mexico, to places where the tax bracket is lower for businesses and they can keep more of the money the company is earning. And then they hold the money over there because the tax bracket here is so high. So simplifying the tax code down to three tax brackets instead of multiple tax brackets. Being able to deduct full child care expense. You guys on the left think that Hillary is going to actually do some of these things that she's promising. See, Hillary Clinton doesn't live up to promises. That's not her record. Donald Trump says, I'm going to build a tower, and a tower goes up. Donald Trump says, I'm going to take a golf course that's dilapidated and needs repair and make it into a world-class golf course, and that's what happened. Donald Trump sits there and watches the city, unable to build an ice rink for many, many years, goes out and says, I'm going to build an ice rink, and that's what happens. I want a president who, when he says something, it gets done. I don't want a president who makes promises and we know makes promises and tells lies. So, tax bracket 3, child care expenses, and the end of the death tax. You guys, nothing has ever pissed me off more than the death tax. We live in a society where the government has decided that if you die and you want to pass on what you have earned to your children, you need to pay more money to the government so they can spend it on their crap. It's absolutely, it's an insult. It's an insult to basic human family structure and just to humanity itself. It's an insult to tax people part of their wealth because you don't like wealthy people passing wealth on to their kids. It's absolutely absurd. It's absolutely absurd. Just remembering who you are. So, in addition to those tax reforms and the brackets, as we know, we talked about 3 brackets. The lowest bracket, a very low tax rate. So there's a lot of people who are going to pay little or no tax at all, who are working class people. A massive tax reduction, which is something that will stimulate business more than... See, and this is what people talk about trickle-down economics. Trickle-down economics was a tax reduction on the personal taxes of wealthy people. It was not necessarily a business tax reduction. Donald Trump is suggesting both. He is suggesting across-the-board tax cuts for everybody. Rich, poor, middle class. And a business tax reduction. Now, when you reduce the taxes on a business, that money does directly go into the economy because those businesses are now able to hire other people to provide greater hours for the people that they're working to increase their profits. They're able to pay more. That money then does go into the economy's hands, gets passed around. It literally trickles down immediately into the workers' hands. Less so than just a personal tax reduction on the rich, which is where trickle-down economics came from. Just a little lesson in trickle-down economics. You should go look it up. It's all of that information is readily available if you read and study. You actually have to see. This is the thing. You actually have to read all of the stuff it tells you about it, not just the little box. Okay. In addition to that, regulation reform. Donald Trump spoke at length about the number of regulations and how he will, in fact, reduce regulations in a great deal of agencies. Some agencies, I'm sure, are going to be eliminated nearly immediately. So it's absolutely vital to our economy that we remove the excessive amount of unnecessary regulations that have been made by bureaucrats who merely want to look good to their boss, to get a raise, to get a promotion, to feel like to show that they're doing something, so they make more regulations. And these regulations make more and more things for businesses to jump through, and harder, all of these hidden costs, whittling away at the bottom line, making it harder and harder for them to pay employees and grow their business, which is where jobs come from. Jobs come from business owners being able to have enough profit to grow their business. Communists who don't understand business, it's so ridiculous. Trade reform, so key. Trade reform, so key. As we all know, many of the trade agreements that we have already made with various countries are being ill-enforced, and frankly probably were ill created in the first place and need to be renegotiated with many of these countries that are basically in violation of the trade agreements. We have trade agreements. They're taxing our goods as they come in. We're not. It's not being equally... It's not a trade agreement if... There's actually, information happening. It's so sweet that you want to argue with people on the... But, there's Facebook and Twitter for that. What you could do right now is learn, because this is actually relevant information to whether or not your candidate sucks or whether or not my candidate actually has the ability to turn the economy around and make America work again, which is what we need. Trade reform being so key to that. Trade reform with China, trade reform with Mexico, trade reform with many of the nations that we have these major trade agreements with. Hillary Clinton is going to loop us right into the TPP, and you know it. She supported it before. She barely doesn't support it now. And what she'll do is say, oh, we tweaked it, and it's great. Yeah, you know what they're going to do? They're going to put her name on top of it. That's how they're going to tweak it. She's going to pass. She is a pro-trade agreement person by general habit from her record. So the only way we're going to actually get any real fair trade, if you want fair trade, fair, free trade, the only way we're going to get that is Donald Trump. Because Hillary Clinton is not playing for America. Hillary Clinton is playing for Hillary Clinton's pocketbook. She sells government secrets to foreign governments for personal money. And you guys are worried about Trump because a baby cried. Cuckoo. So, energy reform, so key, you guys. The worst thing about Hillary Clinton, about another term of Obama, is the continued destruction of the energy market. The coal jobs are being destroyed under some delusion of these climate change individuals who believe that by limiting what we are doing here, we're going to affect the global climate, when in fact that's merely going to cause China and other nations overseas to burn more coal. They're just going to ship the coal somewhere else. They're just going to get more coal. They want... There's plenty of coal being built in China, even in Germany having to use some of their... Many of the European nations finding that their solar, the wind is not doing enough. So coal is going to continue to be used. If we're not burning it at clean coal standards, if we're not building it at clean coal standards, it's just getting burned in China much, much dirtier. So it's absolutely key that we start using the energy we have here in the United States. That we start using the natural gas, the oil, that we stop, that we have safe and clean ability to remove oil and natural gas from the ground, but in fact, that we do use our natural resources. So, let's talk a little bit about, as well as Obamacare. If you haven't looked at Donald Trump's health plan, if you are voting for Hillary Clinton and you think she has a health plan, Donald Trump's health plan is profoundly more effective at lowering the cost of healthcare than any health plan, frankly, that I have seen in my lifetime, because it includes price transparency. So that when you go to the doctor's going to tell you what things cost. So you can price shop between doctors. And so that there can be a standardized cost in the market. So the market can find a standardized price. Better service, a little bit more. Maybe quicker, different service, a little bit less. So, and in fact, that's it's interesting that you say, people are always say, I'll address that because I think I know who you are, but I'll address it anyway because this is my forum and I'm allowed to address whatever I want. People say that Donald Trump was at some point for a single payer. And when Donald Trump was a citizen, he in fact was asked at some point a question about different forms of healthcare. And many people have, he was a Democrat. He actually had more left and changed. He was pro-choice. He's now pro-life. People do have different opinions at one point and another. So while I appreciate people want to say what Donald Trump said in his 20s is his policy that he's stating now, that's insane, because his policies are actually clearly stated on his website. No matter how many times you media people want to show some clips and go, look, he's flip-flopping. You're not flip-flopping from 20 years ago. What he's telling you today is what are his policies that he's advocating as Donald Trump, the individual at this stage in his life who has developed this much experience and has determined from his advisors and from his knowledge that these are the best policies. And frankly, if you listen to the policies, they are the best policies. I wouldn't be here talking if they weren't the best policies. I would shut up. I would just I would just go about, I would vote for Gary Johnson because that's who I voted for last year. But frankly, Gary Johnson is not the same Gary Johnson. He's this open border, pro-TPP, supporting Black Lives Matter Gary Johnson this year. He's pandering so badly. And frankly, I think he's going to take more votes from Hillary than he's going to take from Donald Trump. So, now I will address that, Steve Butler, because people talk about Donald Trump needs to stay on a teleprompter. Donald Trump needs to watch what he says. Donald Trump needs to be, this is the thing. What got Donald Trump to where he is speaking his mind and speaking clearly and directly to the people. The media is they told everybody do you understand? They told everybody he kicked out a baby. It doesn't matter what Donald Trump says. The media is going to spin it in a negative way. If they had to, they would cut word to word to make new sentences. They're practically doing that now. So, frankly, I think all of these people are like, Donald Trump needs to watch what he says. Donald Trump needs... That's what got us in this mess, you guys. That kind of political correctness. When politicians are afraid to tell us what is honestly going on with our country, what is honestly going on with our debt, what is honestly going on with the war in foreign countries, what is honestly going on with our deficit, and with our foreign partners, and with these countries who are hacking into our systems, and with terrorism. We don't have a government that is honest with us. We're so worried that Donald Trump isn't being politically correct enough, that he's giving the media too much fodder. The media will find fodder in anything the man says. If the man says good morning, if Donald Trump says good morning, the media will say he wished a fireball upon people. So, I understand what you're saying. You're sick of the media having these negative stories. Guess what? They're fake. You're not going to get rid of the negative stories because the media is making them up. If they just get to make them up out of random clips that they take completely out of context, they can do that to anyone. It's just that they're choosing to do that to Donald Trump and they're not choosing to do that to Hillary Clinton. And you know what? Fine. You guys, for Christ's sake, this is a movement. I'm so sick of the whiners about this issue. This is a movement. Donald Trump has started a movement. If you think the media is giving misinformation, you should get on the internet and do something about it. You should get on the internet and tell people the real facts. Tell people what is really going on. Do the research by sources that are actually honest about Donald Trump. Honest, at least honest. You know, even on Fox, there's a few shows that are still being honest about Donald Trump and aren't having the, obviously, Lou Dobbs, Sean Hannity. There's a few shows. I think Trish Regan is actually coming out as very defensive. And I really think if you guys get a chance to watch her, she's a redhead like me. So that's actually something. So I will talk about that. This idea that Donald Trump is going to get slaughtered and he's going to ruin the down ticket ballot. Republicans, here's the facts. You had record turnout, not because Kasich was eating pizza on TV, not because Ted Cruz was trying to make sure America went in the right direction. No, because Donald Trump is in the race. Because someone with different skills, because an outsider with real leadership is in the race for the first time. For someone who's not in the political elite, who hasn't had to grease hands and palms all the way up the political ladder to get where they are today. To someone who has earned what they have built in their life and wants to take that leadership into the White House and help lead America back to the greatness we deserve. That's why the media is against him, because the media is bought and paid for by the same people and buy and pay for the politicians. The media is bought and paid for by the exact same companies that pay for the big banks, that pay for the lobbyists. They're the same people. What's so cute about the left is the 1% has your candidate so bought and paid for, it's disgusting. You sat out and you occupied and you played your drums and you had your little hippie fest and it was great. But you then picked a candidate who is bought and sold by the exact thing, Occupy Wall Street. Hillary Clinton is owned by Wall Street. What happened to you people? What happened? What happened? So, obviously, you guys in the hit media this week, the Second Amendment thing, they're going to come out with that really hard tomorrow because it just happened today. And they're going to say Donald Trump threatened Hillary Clinton, and they have nothing. And it's just a spin. Donald Trump, here, if you listen to the mainstream media, Donald Trump kicked out a baby. He disrespected a veteran. He mocked a disabled person. He threatened the president. He incited gun violence. If you listen to the media, that's what they're saying. And when you watch the rallies, that's not what is said, which is why I keep saying to everybody, watch the rallies. So, no more chatting. We're going to talk about where the rallies are, so you can just watch the rallies and you'll see what the man said yourself. All of you haters, watch the rallies, see what the man said yourself. Wednesday, tomorrow, Abingdon, Virginia, Abingdon, Abingdon, Virginia, 3 p.m. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 7 p.m. That might be a very interesting speech. I know whenever Trump goes to some place like big in Florida or any of these larger cities, they usually are pretty important speeches. So maybe he'll do that teleprompter thing you guys are all so desperate for him to do. He does great on the teleprompter. He does great at rallies without it, you guys. Just relax. He's going to have to speak off the cuff when he's president anyway. You guys act like you want a puppet. Why do you want a puppet? I don't understand. Don't understand. Thursday, Kissimmee, Florida, 7 p.m. Friday, Erie, Pennsylvania, 2 p.m. Altoona, Pennsylvania, 6 p.m. Those are all Trump's rallies. Mike will be in Dayton, Ohio at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. He'll be in Cambridge, Ohio at 7 p.m. On Thursday, he'll be in La Crosse, Wisconsin at 3 p.m. and Milwaukee, Wisconsin at 7 p.m. So he's actually up in my neck of the woods. I wish he'd bring Trump. Bring Trump. But in fact, if you don't get a chance to go to the rallies, some of you haters, you can do a little protesting. It's so cute. They're very nice. Everyone kind of goes, Trump, Trump, Trump around you. And you get your little minute. And then cameras all turn and they show you and your little sign and whatever your little thing you're doing. And then they come, they gently kind of get you out. They drag you a little and then they kind of nicely try to get you out so that it doesn't look like they're roughing you up. Because if anything happened to you precious little snowflakes, it'd be all over the 4 o'clock, 10 o'clock, every o'clock news for a week, because that's how you whiners are. You come, you instigate, you start ruckus, sometimes even violence. That's what happened in Chicago. And just to limit other people's free speech. They need a safe space behind bars. That's criminal behavior. So, let's, if you can't catch the rallies, you guys go to rsbn.tv, Right Side Broadcasting Network.tv. They have all the rallies. They have stories, articles, links to other things, interviews and stuff that Trump has done. Just different, they have a bunch of things. There's so much. You could look at it all day. It's too much information. But it's a lot of good information, so you can go there. Also, there's a lot of new press releases on donaldjtrump.com in the media section. Press releases. I'm looking forward to the first debates too, and I don't care when they're scheduled. I think that Trump's right to complain, because it just gives him an opportunity to show everybody how the system is rigged, and we're still going to win anyways, because frankly the polls that they have so skewed, and the reverse Bradley effect, as we've talked about many times. The battleground states still doing very well within the margin of error, and with the skewed polls and many other factors, including voter enthusiasm. It's not whether you answer the phone on poll day, it's whether you show up at the polls and actually vote. And you know who's showing up at rallies for Trump? Thousands and thousands of people. You know who's showing up at Hillary rallies? Like a few people. The few people. No, there were some primaries that were crooked. There were some shenanigans that went on. The establishment ran some shenanigans on both sides. On both sides. So the primaries had their own problems. The reason that Trump won anyway in the primaries is because of so much voter turnout. Because of a flood of voters, which is why we keep saying it's important to get the vote out and talk past the haters, which is what I do every single night. Every single night that I can get on here. I talk past the haters, because we need to keep telling everybody that Hillary is a totally corrupt politician. She does deserve to be in prison for what she's done. She certainly does not in any way need to be anywhere near the leadership of this country, because she's not fit. And frankly, her health issues are of grave concern to a lot of people in the media right now. There are some serious concerns about her previous and current health conditions that might affect her ability to lead and think clearly. So, there were opened and closed primaries. The media wants you to think that the Republicans have broken away because of these 50 GOP never-Trumpers who are not going to vote for Trump, and that there's such great division in the party, when in fact it's about 88 to 91%, depending on the poll, of Republican voters. Because it's not really how many politicians go to the polls on Election Day. There's only so many of them. It's how many voters go to the polls. So what you're going to see, and as you saw in the primaries, so many voters went to the poll for Donald Trump that even when the establishment tried to rig the races, it was very difficult. Unlike Bernie Sanders, who had additional problems, in part because the superdelegate situation completely skews the race from the beginning. If you know who the superdelegates are going for in the beginning, it skews funding, it skews donations, it skews the consciousness of the voter, and it actually has a immediately suppressive effect. And coin tosses, which oddly, I just is like a magic coin. It's just like just some people are so lucky. We need to be better than lucky. We need to be good. We need to make sure we get the vote out in November. So important. So those are the rallies, you guys. Let's do my one of my favorite things I love to do. Trump reason of the day, because all the Trump haters, even the ones trying to ruin my life, literally, all of my Trump haters ask you, why do you support Trump? Why could you support Trump? Yeah, haters are they're gonna hate. They're gonna hate, and you know it. So true. Why are they gonna hate? We just breathe through it. We just breathe through it because we love America. We love America, and we don't. It doesn't matter if half the haters, they don't really love America. So I really don't feel sorry for people who want to hate on Donald Trump. They're often not very patriotic people, and even my lefty friends, the ones that are calm, many of them are at least still patriotic, and they have some issues with many of Hillary's honesty as well. They have some struggles. because they're more sincere. Unlike many of these kind of radical brown shirt type people who just attack you and call you names and insult and troll and just all the bad things they do. Absolutely ridiculous. But so I like to talk about my Trump reason of the day, and of course when we're talking about Trump's economic speech, it's the economy. It's the economy, stupid. If you haven't heard this phrase, it's the economy, stupid. Every black person, let me just say, I want to speak to that they said they call you Uncle Tom. I have so many black friends for Trump online that I adore, because there is a certain bravery coming out for your candidate when your basic group of people have been so brought into the Democratic Party for so long and can cause so much just rejection. There's so much rejection that goes on when you don't agree. And so I'm happy for all of my black friends who are able to break through that and support the candidate of their personal choosing. And it's a crazy world. And I often get people who say, oh, so there's black people who support Trump. And you can just go online and find them. There's tons of people, videos, posting, websites. I mean, it just goes on and on. There's organizations, there's Diamond and stuff. There's famous black people for Trump now. It's absolutely, it's just absurd what the other side wants to believe about Donald Trump when the facts are so readily obvious. So my Trump reason today is the economy. We need our jobs back. What's making us bitter, infighting, all of these issues are built on this massive amount of government dependence we have, and controlling other people's behavior because it costs too much tax dollars, and people are not healthy enough, so it's costing everybody tax money only because the government pays for healthcare, and Medicaid and Medicare, only because government pays for all these programs. Is all of these bad decisions costing us so much money, so we need to force people to behave. We need to sin tax them. We need to regulate them. We need to regulate the businesses. There's so much government control. It's stifled the economy. And the tax burden has stifled the economy. We don't have jobs. We don't have a flexibility of better jobs. We have the jobs that are available are smaller. They have less benefits. They might have less hours. Many people are having multiple jobs. It's just the job economy has shrunk. The number of people out of the workforce is massive because the job economy has shrunk under Obama, despite the numbers that they've. I used to do a show called The Monk Junket, and we would do the market report all the time. We'd always talk about the job numbers and then how they would revise them 2 days later. They'd put the number out, and then 2 days later they'd lower them and say, "Oh, actually, it was less jobs. Why didn't you get it right the first time?" It's absolutely ridiculous. So, unfortunately, the problem becomes that when we don't have jobs, nothing about our economy is working. Nothing about our culture is working. We become more dependent. We become more angry. We become more divided. For the resources we have, crime goes up because, in fact, lack of resources does encourage criminal activity. I mean, anybody who's been poor knows that sometimes you think, oh, maybe I could do this little thing that I'm not really supposed to do, make a lot more money. Everyone. Poverty encourages crime directly. Lack of law enforcement encourages crime, which encourages poverty, which encourages further economic decay, which is how we have Detroit, which is a great location for Donald Trump to give his speech, by the way. I would just want to commend the Trump campaign. Some people are like, oh, why would you pick Detroit? Because Detroit is exactly the place you would pick for demonstrating where the policies, the failed policies of the Democrats, of the left, of big government have turned a once great city into ruin. The unions, I know you guys have been, I just realized you guys have been having a little talk about the unions. Let me just say something. The unions have been corrupt for a long time and would have shrunk based on the market requirement, because many workers were no longer interested in unions, and many ways for getting out of unions and passing ways in which unions were not required, or they have more flexibilities. But unfortunately, what happened is we then allowed the unions to start having public unions in public jobs. And that has caused a great deal of problems in our pension plans, overspending, in constant struggles with the teachers' unions, with pay raises, with walkouts, with scheduling, with bureaucrats, with overhead. And frankly, one of the reasons that bad cops stay on the police force, at least I know here in Chicago, is that the Chicago Police Union is designed to keep certain that cops to help police officers keep their jobs. They're designed to defend police officers. That's one of their main functions. And while it's important to defend your officers in the case of false accusations, many times we know that your parties who advocate for officers who might have caused problems might go even further than that. And the unions certainly are not well known for being always on the up and up, at least here in Chicago. So that's why I'm voting for Trump, you guys. The economy. We need jobs. Trump's the only one who's going to fix these trade deals. He's not going to put us deeper in the hole with worse trade deals. And he at least understands what it's like to sign the front of a paycheck, what it means to try to run a business, to make sure that bottom line is met every single day. And that, as a small business owner, I value greatly. So that's that. Let's do the part y'all are hanging out to anyway. Trump Hotties, you guys. And it's summertime, and I found a wonderful new hottie. She's really adorable. And as you know, I love women with books. Women with books are always nice. That shows a certain sign of intellectualism. Means we're going to have a good conversation. That's the kind of girls I like to hang out with. And so here's our Trump Hottie of the day. She's got I gotta take a look on Amazon in a minute and see about that. But see, she's got her handkerchief bikini on. She's got a Make America Great hat, her glasses, just hair blowing in the sun. Just so beautiful, Americana, and happy to be supporting the best candidate, the only candidate in the race, Donald J. So we'll be back again tomorrow with a new episode, you guys, and every night, no matter what, I'm going to try to do it every night. Some nights, things literally get in the way. Last night, as you know, I had to talk to some people of legal import so that I can deal with the haters that literally are brown-shirting Trump supporters across the country. It's not just me. There was a Trump supporter that was shot in the leg in a bar. People are they're vandalized, their stuff vandalized, they're getting attacked, punched. It's calm here. But see, I'm not going to be terrorized, and I don't think any of you Trump supporters who turn into the show all the time are going to be terrorized. And I know that because people get on the show and terrorize you right here in front of me, and then they'll just stick through it, and we go through the news, and we talk about Trump, and we make sure we get all the information. So, awesome. As always, you can reach me here at Trumpertarian. Find me on Twitter. See what I'm talking about. Scroll through all the bazillion of Trump tweets. I tweet everything that Trump tweets. So anything, what I love about this is that should my haters be listening, just if you go on the Trumpertarian, you're going to have to scroll through every single thing that Donald Trump ever said to find what I said. It's so great. Thank you. Oh, I will. I will keep up the good work. I don't want to check because I'm doing this out of just the love of country, but I would certainly like a handshake and maybe a ticket to the inauguration if anybody knows anything. Okay. You can, of course, email me information about that or other things at trumptalkus@gmail.com. And you can send me all your positive emails, information. If you have pictures, I know I have a bunch of pictures, you guys. I'm for the viewers that have sent me pictures in, I have a bunch of pictures I want to share with everybody, some fun signs and what's been going on around. We haven't done Best of the Trump Train in a while, but we've been doing Trump Hotties all summer, and I'm sorry, who doesn't love the Trump Hotties? But that doesn't mean we can't do both. So I'm certainly going to do maybe a picture day and do a whole bunch of pictures, which would be fun. And so, of course, you can catch all the back episodes, www.trumptalk.us. And as always, me and Little Trumpy will be here helping to make America great again. Because it's not about you or me. It's about this place right here. And making it this thing again. That's why we're doing all this. Make sure you get out the vote. Do your part. Make sure your friends are all registered. It's like 91 days, you guys. Go jump. Bye.